I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Operational Planning and Infrastructure Committee. Could I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Sleesman,
Present.
Ms. Pachetti,
Here.
Mayor Gallo,
Here.
Ms. Harper,
Here.
Mr. Love.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Our first item is approval of the minutes from July 21st. Those should be in front of you. Do I have any comments, corrections, revisions? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Gallo.
Second, Love.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, those stand approved. We have two items this morning. The first is an RFP procurement, a competitive negotiated procurement to develop a TOD plan along the Lorraine Road corridor. And then presentations from Mary Beth Feek and Anne Marie Prebish. Ladies, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Chairman Sleesman, members of the board. Again, I'm Mary Beth Feek. I'm here to explain a really exciting project that we have for you. It's the Lorraine Road Corridor TOD plan. And basically what this is it's an FTA-funded pilot planning grant for TOD planning along a corridor that you wish to improve. And we got this grant a couple years ago. We finally got into grant making and we were ready to make an award. It is one of the biggest and best ones we've ever done. 15.7 miles, most of ours are 4 to 6 miles. This is 15. It runs from Ohio City, basically where the bridge ends, all the way to the county line. It goes through 3 cities, Fairview Park, the city of Cleveland, and North Olmsted. We were very successful with this grant. It's 100% federal, and we got commendations for our ability to look at development and especially affordable housing along this corridor. We've been working with these cities for about a year now, meeting with the Planning Commission and really trying to prime them for this project and this plan. Basically, what we're going to look at is a BRT or some sort of transit improvement along the whole line. We may add a new BRT line. We may look at, it's served by the 22, and then the 55 comes down through 210th and goes to the county line. Maybe there's a new service that we can look at. So I'm going to show you what the corridor looks like. This is Cleveland right next to the bridge. You can see Ohio City. You can see a constrained corridor. The right-of-way is not very large, but you can see that the form there, you can see the development that is already there and how it is very transit supportive. As we go further west, Detroit Shoreway gets a little wider, but the form is still there, and there's still a good propensity for development and destinations. And then as we go further west in Cams, it gets a little wider, but you can still see some pedestrian improvements. You see the back-end parking and the pedestrian crosswalks. As we go further into Fairview Park, it gets a little bit wider. You're getting more and more suburban. However, Fairview Park has done a lot of work creating a pedestrian realm and some streetscaping and some in the middle of their town. And then we get to North Olmsted, it's wide open. It's very much a suburb, but they do have the mall there that they're really working to redevelop in a very transit-oriented way. All of these communities done a lot of work with the County Planning Commission and with us to reenact zoning and planning codes that really do support development and infill along the corridor. So let's put this in context. I know that I've met with everyone a couple of times on the strategic plan as we're revising it. This is the heart of the strategic plan. For any of you that think it's just on the shelf, it is not. The reason we did the Metro Health Line, the reason we did Clifton and the Health Line, and now Lorraine is because it is a priority corridor, 24/7 or very frequent service and a good propensity for development, ridership. It's very strong. So that we are realizing our plan and we are trying to put it into strategy and moving forward in implementation. So that is the first step, is when we do a TOD plan. We did that for Metro Health. We did it for Clifton. We did it for the Health Line. So this is the next one. And we also did it for Broadway. So let's look at the ridership on the 22 and the 55. You can see very strong. 22 is one of the workhorses of our system. On-time performance, not so strong. And that's just telling you that we have a reliability issue. That's why we did the Metro Health line. That's why that's a BRT. And this, we have a lot, there's a lot, it's a long corridor. There's a lot that can go wrong. I don't know if anybody is from the west side, but Ridge Road is flooded right now. I don't know how the 45 is getting through. It's not. So any day that can happen, and our bus service can have to deal with that on the fly. So that's what's happening, and what we're looking at as a BRT is to make it quicker or more expedient and much more reliable and consistent for all of our riders and our public. So what the scope of work? The scope of work is large because I'm a planner and I write very large scopes of work. First of all is project management. I need to know who's going to do what, when, how the consultants are going to, and the sub-consultants are going to be managed. What is your schedule? And how are we going to meet with all the people that we need to meet with, all the stakeholders. Secondly is engagement. Engagement is extremely important in a project like this. This one actually came from the ground roots up. North Olmsted, Fairview Park, the city of Cleveland, all came to us and said, we want you to look at Lorraine. So we did. But all of them have had very extensive planning processes. Each community is different. They all have their own planning commissions. They have their own processes. Some have to go through their council and get that approved and then up. Some do not. So we have to engage the community where they are. And they're all very cognizant of having fatigue for planning and lots of meetings. So our engagement has to incorporate all of that. Transportation analysis, this will be the heart of the plan. What type of service, if anything, should go? Should it just be the 22 and 55? Should it be a BRT all the way from downtown to the county line? Can it connect with Lorraine County Transit at the county line? Can they connect with us? How does that look? What about multimodal? There's a lot of Metro Parks work being done. Bradley Woods, they're putting some trails up. How does that connect with those multimodal nodes, as well as the parks further east? There's also a couple of schools on Lorraine that are being built. How does that connect for the students? And the intersections look pretty nasty right now. How can we connect with that? And also serve the students better. And we'll ask for a recommended analysis that we can take forward if we choose to study it more and perhaps get into the next phase, which would be some sort of engineering phase. TOD and land use, Mark, that's another piece of this. It's the primary piece, but all of them have very solid land use and new zoning that will help us. But the market, we can say TOD all we want, but if no one's going to build it and no one's going to buy it, what good is it? So they'll use data to say, hey, in Fairview Park, they need generational housing. They need single-family, smaller units or big units in North Olmsted. And what does that look like for all of us and for our development along the corridor? And how can it really help spur that development for the private investor as well as for us for ridership and leveraging investment? So this is a very messy schedule that Bev from Kimberly Horn, our PM, is online if you need to ask. And I wanted to show you this. This is what we got in the proposal. I'm going to show you a simplified version that I like a little bit better. It just tells you we will engage a consultant and award in August. In September, we'll start, we'll kick it off, we'll have some meetings, and then by the end of next December, so this will be a 15-month study, we'll have a draft of all of the component sections and start reviewing those results and come to the board for finalization. And then I put 6 months in the schedule after that because every city has their own process, and it may take a few months to get on the correct agendas and get this outlined and then adopted. Remember, we do not, as RTA, have any land use policies. We do not have any control over any of the regulation. We control our transit system. So we have to work together, and this has so far been a really positive project. I know it'll go forward and hopefully be successful in getting us a BRT in a few years. So I'll leave it to Anne Marie, who will talk about our procurement process.
Good morning, Chair Sleesman, committee members, and members of the board. My name is Anne Marie Prebish. I'm the contract administrator for this procurement. For the procurement overview, the RFP was issued March 9th, 2026, and was accessed on our website by 52 interested parties. Proposals were due April 8th, 2026. 6 firms submitted proposals, and 3 firms were interviewed. The evaluation panel members included folks from programming and planning, administration and external affairs, OMB, service management, grants management, procurement, and we also had representatives from the cities of Cleveland, Fairview Park, North Olmsted, and Cuyahoga County. The evaluation criteria was the following: project manager assigned, project approach, project team assigned, understanding of project, and cost. The recommended firm is Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc., located in Akron, Ohio. Kimley Horn was founded in 1967 and is one of the nation's premier planning, engineering, and design consulting firms with over 11,000 employees and over 160 offices in North America. Some of their clients include CODA, Metro RTA, among others. In the recommendation, staff requests that the Operational Planning and Infrastructure Committee recommend to the Board of Trustees an award to Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc. for the Lorraine Road TOD plan for a total contract amount not to exceed $688,774.88. And we're happy to answer any questions. And as Mary Beth stated, we do have someone from Kimley, the project manager, Beth, is online with us.
Before we get to questions, I happen to be in the offices of the Economic Development Director in North Olmsted a couple weeks after this proposal went in, and I can double down on this was a grassroots. These were the communities coming to us and saying, "Hey, let's look at this." So I just wanted to commend everyone for the collaboration, especially Max Upton, the former Economic Development Director at North Olmsted, because this is exactly the kind of thing we like to see of responding to community needs. Do I have any questions from the committee or the board?
Hey, thank you. It's a really exciting project. I'm going to ask one question, then I have a couple comments, but one question that I have asked before in in different contexts, but remains important, is just, could you help us understand how this builds on other transit-oriented development studies that have happened along Lorraine Corridor, by NOACA, county planning, other things that we may have read about in the papers, so we understand if this is, how this is complementary or different than other ones. Thank you.
This complements a lot of the planning. Fairview Park has just put in new land use and zoning plans. It's the county's land use and TOD plan based on TOD. The city of North Olmsted, with their redevelopment of the mall, it's very much focused on redevelopment in the city center and very much pedestrian-oriented and multi-use. And then the city of Cleveland, with their form-based and also their 15-minute city, it ties right into those. When we were at one of the meetings in Fairview Park, they mentioned they were redeveloping the site. We were at their senior/rec center right next to them in the TOD form. We also noticed there's vacant land going on in North Olmsted. Some of their car dealers are going away, and how can they redevelop that in a context that supports development as well as transit? So it's all very complementary. We're all working together. I hope that answers some of your question.
Yeah, and are we building on another study that has been done in the last couple of years?
No,
that was
nothing
federally
that we've
funded
done
or locally funded?
All of Lorraine. No, we've never.
Okay.
There's small neighborhood plans for neighborhoods, and the reason we do a corridor is because we travel the whole corridor.
Okay.
So there is a bike way that's going through Lorraine that they're planning, but there's never been anything that goes the whole corridor.
Okay, thank you.
And then the Metro Parks is also doing a lot of planning by the Bradley Woods Reservation up there.
Okay, thank you, that's helpful. And then as we move forward with whoever we choose to work on this project, I hope this would happen anyway, but as with the City of Cleveland, there are many actors within the City of Cleveland, so let's just be sure to engage council members, community development, corporations as needed, especially in that like West Park Cams area. And I think that's all for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. This is exciting and, opportunity to really build on the long-term vision for TOD corridors. I am curious, as you're thinking about the stakeholders, the three communities, Trustee Pachetti referenced the county. Could you just speak a little bit more how county planning and frankly, the county is engaged as a partner in this?
The first meeting we had, and I think India was there, was the county executive calling all the communities into the county offices to talk about this. This was probably 3.5 years ago. Since then, we have had regular meetings. The County Planning Commission is one of those stakeholders, and it's their zoning work really has been the groundwork for what North Olmsted and Fairview Park did. So they are involved, and we've got a very good relationship with them. So we did put another TOD planning grant in just last month for Warrensville Center Road, and we are already starting meetings, and the County Planning Commission is convening them. They have, while we have our resources and we are able to outreach, doing it together really helps because it sort of takes a lot of us to move this TOD forward. So they're at the table, and you saw that they were a member of the evaluation panel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Terrific project. Ecstatic about it. Clearly, right in our sweet spot of things we want to be doing. So, again, kudos to everyone who's gotten us to here. A couple questions. What was the total length of the?
15.7 miles.
That's got to be the longest
Yeah.
TOD we have ever done, right?
Right.
Okay. And then just curious about the mechanics, and maybe this is part of the planning process, but how will, with such a large project, how will it actually transpire? I mean, are they, things could happen in, I assume, in multiple locations along the corridor, and are there separate funding for those projects? How is that, the actual project going to
Part of the plan is a financial, how do we do it? There's something called a minimum operating segment where you do projects in segments. So perhaps something comes up to a certain point, we do that, and then we extend. We really don't know. It could be, we just look, we need the analysis for the ridership and the cost. We could just do a BRT overlay and put an express bus on there. Certainly signalization, bus lanes, and all that will deal with how much travel time and what we need. So we really don't know right now. We're open to it, and that's why we're doing the plan.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board, the committee, or the board? Hearing none, we have a recommendation. Do I have a motion to move it to the full board for approval?
So
Motion Gallo,
Go ahead.
motion Gallo.
And a second?
Second Harper.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That stands approved, and we'll go to the full board for approval. Thank you very much. Our second item today is an RFP procurement, competitive negotiated procurement for on-call architectural and engineering services for 2026. And we'll have a presentation from Kathleen McGurvey, and Anne Marie will stay with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Sleesman, members of the committee, members of the board. I'm Kathleen McGurvey from the Engineering Department, here with Anne Marie Prebish from Procurement to discuss the on-call architect and engineering services for 2026. And the purpose of this project is just to augment RTA in-house personnel, assist with the preparation of plans and specifications, independent cost estimates, construction support. And the work will be by task order assignment. And the reason we're here presenting to you is because of the dollar amount, and it's a not to exceed $500,000 for the 24-month term. And here's a few examples of some of the projects which may utilize this on-call. The Wood Hill Employee Development Center, the paratransit vehicle lift replacement, revenue building and fuel island roof replacement, central bus roof replacement, and HVAC replacement. And now Anne Marie will present the procurement part.
Thanks, good job. Good morning, Chair Sleesman, committee members, and members of the board. My name is Anne Marie Prebish, and I'm the contract administrator for this procurement. The RFP was issued May 25th, 2026, and was accessed on our website by 64 interested parties. Proposals were due June 25th, 2026. 3 firms submitted proposals, and 3 firms were interviewed. The evaluation panel members included folks from engineering and project development, safety, OBD, OMB, and procurement. And this was a Brooks Act procurement. The evaluation criteria included project manager, assigned staff, past performance, project approach, location of majority of work, DBE participation. The most technically qualified vendor was DLZ Ohio, Inc. DLZ Ohio, Inc. has successfully completed projects for the authority, for NORSD, ODOT, CODA, and Capital Area Transportation Authority, among others. They are a multidisciplinary firm with extensive industry knowledge that provides quality deliverables on recent projects. The staff requests that the Operational Planning and Infrastructure Committee recommend to the Board of Trustees an award to DLZ Ohio, Inc. for the On-Call AE Services 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $500,000 for a period of 24 months. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. So any questions from the committee of the board? Yes.
So the on-call nature of the contract, does that mean it's whichever specialist is available, or will we have a designated person assigned to RTA projects?
So typically, the way this works is that they'll have one in-house person that will determine who the most suitable staff is, and then they will use, so if they need a mechanical engineer, they'll put a mechanical engineer on it, or a civil, and so forth.
Still learning how it all works. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee or the board as a whole? Seeing none, we have a recommendation in front of us. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Love?
Second, Pachetti.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That stands approved and will move to the full board for approval. Thank you very much. That was our last item, so I will move to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second, Harper.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting stands adjourned at 9:23.
While we're switching, if I may, with permission from the chair or the acting chair here today, we're going to just give a little bit of an update. As you may notice, we've got a little bit of an adjustment to the schedule with a special meeting later, so apologies for any delay or whispering that you see up here at the dais. We're trying to make sure we coordinate correctly. You will see some adjustments in the seating. So Ken Green, if you could just raise your hand for us. So Ken is the interim executive assistant that's serving in the capacity of the board administrator. Brent Charnago is no longer with the authority, so we are pitching in to be able to fill in that gap. So we appreciate you, Ken, for doing that. The reason I wanted to thoroughly embarrass Ken today is because he also is a little new in his seat on the 5th floor. He previously came from HR and has come up to the 5th floor to be able to serve as executive assistant for Natoya Walker Minor in administration and external affairs, as well as Nick Bigger for customer experience and performance management. So he is the EA for those 2 departments, or those 2 divisions, but will be serving in the capacity for board support until we're able to fill the role. Also, we have Kay Satula, the Director of Management and Budget, who is serving to kind of backfill the backfill to help out with that. We also have Mary Delgado, who is my executive assistant, that is serving with support from behind the scenes as well. And then Raj, who apropos just got up for a moment, will be giving you a little bit more information on his last couple weeks with us in his role as Deputy General Manager of Finance. He's coming up on retirement, so we'll all shed a tear a little bit later, and we'll get to that. One other thing is that we have Joe Schaefer, who is sitting in the seat that was previously occupied by Mike Shipper, who, if you remember, retired last week. And so Joe is the Director of Engineering, and he'll be serving for Board Awareness for Engineering. And you may see that seat switch out a little bit, as you heard from Mary Beth, who is the Director of Planning within the division, as well as Brian Timming, who is over quality in capital projects. So you'll see Joe for the majority, but you may see that seat switch out a little bit depending on what's on the docket. So just wanted to give you a little bit of administrative Jenga that we have going on here as we continue through the generations of folks at RTA.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to the Organizational Services and Performance Monitoring Committee. I'd like to call that meeting to order this Tuesday, August 4th at 9:26. And could I have a roll call, please, Ken?
Ms. Pachetti,
Here.
Mayor Gallo, Mr. Love,
Here?
Ms. McPherson, Mr. Sleesman.
Here.
We have quorum.
Great. And thank you, Ken, and welcome. We have first on the agenda approval of minutes and then 2 presentations. So we'll start with the approval of minutes from July 21st. Any questions or comments on those? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Gallo.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Those minutes stand approved. Our first presentation is an RFP procurement, negotiated procurement for the manufacture and delivery of 40-foot coaches, 40-foot coaches. I'll leave it to James Burke, Vehicle Engineer, and Glenville Manning, Contract Administrator, to help fill us in.
All right, good morning. Actually, James Burke, I'm Dan Dietrich, so I'm doing the presentation. James is, like you stated, is a vehicle engineer. And I'm I'm the Director of Fleet Management, so let me start.
My apologies.
No, no
Welcome.
worries. It was a
Yeah.
last-minute audible. Good morning, Chair Pachetti, committee members, and members of the board. My name is Dan Dietrich. I'm Director of Fleet Management and Operations, and I'm here with Glenville Manning from Procurement to present the procurement of 40-foot CNG coaches, spare parts, tooling, and training with options to purchase up to an additional 120 CNG coaches, spare parts, tooling, and training to be delivered over the 5-year contract term. So to begin, these are all grant-funded purchases, typically an 80% FTA grant-funded procurement. RTA operates fixed route buses that serve 82% of our customers, so it's the backbone of our service. The FTA minimum useful life requirement of a transit bus is 12 years or 500,000 miles. And I'll move to the table to the right. So when we talk about fixed route buses, we have several different types and lengths of fixed route buses that make up our fleet. And you can see some are eligible for replacement, some are not. The first one on the list is the 60-foot Healthline BRT. There's 16 buses in our fleet, and 0 are eligible for replacement, so they haven't reached their 12-year mark or 500,000-mile mark. Just for reference, those will be eligible in 2033. The next one is a 45-foot MCI commuter coach. We have 9 of those. Again, none at this point are eligible for replacement, but those will become eligible in 2031. Next up is the 35-foot trolley bus. There's 12 of those. We have a couple more years before they become eligible, so 2028, which they'll become eligible. And then the last is the majority of our fleet is the 40-foot transit bus. There's 238 in our active fleet, and as of today, 54 of those are actually eligible to be replaced. That's 23% of that fleet. Those buses typically reach 500,000 miles before they reach 12 years. We put a lot of miles on those buses. So to provide safe and reliable and cost-effective service, buses should be replaced on a regular annual cycle. So for this purchase, this pertains to that last line in that chart, the 40-foot transit bus. So that's what the scope of this purchase is. So this picture is our last bus purchase, which this new one will be the same. Same equipment, same style. So our base order will look like that. It's the the Gillig 40-foot CNG transit bus. It's what you see out there today. Our riders are very familiar with it, our operators are as well. Notable features that we'll continue to receive on these buses are passenger information system, transom passenger windows, which is our top tip-in vented windows, contoured plastic seats, no decals or graphics on the passenger windows, security camera system, including 4K and 360-degree cameras, and then telematics and diagnostic data that's more for real-time updates to our equipment and maintenance teams to communicate any technical issues with the bus. And I'll turn it over to Glenville for the procurement side.
Good morning, Chair Pachetti, committee members, and members of the board. I am Glenville Madden, contract administrator for this purchase of 40 40-foot CNG coaches. The request for proposal was issued on October 19th of 2025. It was accessed on the GCRTA website by 45 interested parties. Proposals were due February 25th of 2026. 3 vendors proposed and 3 vendors were interviewed. The criteria for this RFP was the technical package, qualification package, and price cost proposal. The evaluation panel members consisted of Fleet Management, Hayden District, Office of Management and Budget, Safety, Training, and Employee Development. The recommended vendor is Gillig LLC out of Livermore, California. Current customers for Gillig include the GCRTA, Akron Metro RTA, COTA, Metro Transit in St. Paul, Minnesota, Dallas Area Rapid Transit, Valley Metro in Phoenix, and Lynx in Orlando, Florida. The anticipated delivery of 40 40-foot CNG coaches completed within 44 weeks of the notice to proceed. Staff requests that the Organizational Services and Performance Monitoring Committee recommend to the Board of Trustees the award of a contract to Gillig LLC for the manufacture and delivery of 40 40-foot CNG coaches, spare parts, tooling, and training in an amount not to exceed $34,751,159, with options to procure up to 120 additional 40-foot CNG coaches, spare parts, tooling, and training over the 5-year contract term. We'll be glad for any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. I do have a question, but let me turn to my colleagues first on the committee. Go ahead.
First, thanks for having no decals on the windows. That's appreciated. Second, could you go back one slide? I have a question that's a little bit loaded, but I want to actually pare it down first. CalSTART did a study just a few months ago, and I think Brookings did one last year, looking at the cost of buses in CalSTART's. It came out to a median for a 40-foot coach, 40-foot CNG coach of about $650,000 each, and we're at $850,000, if I'm calculating this right, $850,000 each. However, I may be comparing apples and oranges because this includes coaches, spare parts, toolings, and training. So I did want to inquire about the per coach cost. However, I want to realize that we have other things than just the buses themselves here. So are we, and I know this is competitive, but I just want to make sure we're not either customizing too much or asking too much in those, and we're actually getting the best deal we can. And this may bounce up to Doc real quick, but.
Yeah, so we had 3 proposers for the buses, and I don't have numbers in front of me, but I just know that it was high 700,000 for 2, and Gillig was like low 800. And then with the options for the vehicle, for our specifications for our fleet, I guess for the Cleveland area, from what's been our failures, our successes previously in our coaches, that the options were selected instead of just a standard bus. We had options because of what performs best, I would say, in the Cleveland area, and that's why the price of the coaches.
That makes sense too, making sure that the customizations make sense for us. And I just want to make sure we're not just adding things that are driving up costs for no reason. or not for no reason, but for, that could be avoided or could be handled otherwise.
If I could, Doc, I don't know if you have any additional commentary. Okay. I do just, you mentioned Brookings and CalSTART, correct? So I do appreciate that. I know I was on a panel of sorts, I think it was last year at your advisory, I believe. It was Brookings as well. And there, maybe 2 years before that, APTA, the American Public Transportation Association, this is just for background, had put together a more of like a bus purchasing group, if we want to call it that, even if the staff are members, yeah. And there's been a lot of conversation about customization for vehicles versus a bus in a box, so to speak. And that's been a matter of conversation for not only the research community, but I also think for the union from the Amalgamated Transit and others from the international aspect. There are a lot of conversation about customization and how that drives up the price. And so there are so many different options. I can just say I do not recall a bus in a transit authority that I have worked in over the last 10 years that has probably been under 700,000. So I think that we're within ranges, and this is anecdotally. When you think about buying a car and you want leather seats versus fabric and you want cameras and all of that, I will say the additional cost that is included in procurement, keep me honest, when we start adding in, like you mentioned, spare parts, toolings, and trainings, there is a big industry shift to be able to have those things at the table. And I know we've done a lot of work to be able to make sure that training is included in those procurements, where maybe in the past it may not have also been captured in the initial procurement. So I am very comfortable with the number, but I think it's a really good question. And as the industry moves forward, right, I think that we as an industry for public transit have to make things more streamlined, instead of having the volatility in the market where you could have a number out there that's still in the low 600s versus one that's in the high 800. But I will say I have not seen a bus that was really all-inclusive and comprehensive under 700 in probably a better decade.
Yeah, I would imagine there's plenty of that all-inclusiveness. And I do appreciate that customizations, especially because buying a bus in Phoenix is different than buying a bus in Cleveland. So we may be saving money in the long run by having, and so I appreciate the answer. Thanks.
Yeah, mine is also cost related, but Trustee Love, do you want to go in a different direction or? Okay. Yeah, I'll just add on to that. Mine's in a slightly, so still related to cost, but I was interested in how you decide on the process for what size of bus. So we saw the other options, and I know our ridership is down since we last purchased these buses, I'm assuming. And so is there an opportunity, or how do you work with other team members to make sure that maybe we shouldn't be buying I think a 35-foot instead of a 40, or I forget. Do you mind going back to that slide with the other vehicles? Yeah. And I know there's been talk of like using the trolleys to replace some of the buses. So just help us understand how you go about that decision on the number. Thanks.
We do work with service management on what the next bus purchase size should be to match the service need that they lay out. So Joel, I don't know if there's things you need to, if you have anything to add about the size of bus that's needed for the service.
The size is certainly adequate, and we do get better pricing on 40-foot. The whole industry gets better cost effectiveness and value on the 40-foot model. It's just because it's so used, and they make so many of them, and it's such a perfected technology. And I think that's one of the reasons the 40-foot bus does well. It works for all our loads, so we're very comfortable with that size. Right now, since we own 35-foot trolleys and we want to keep using them, therefore, for quite some years now, we have used them on other routes for which they are big enough, and we'll continue to do that as long as they last until they finish their useful life, and then we'll decide what to replace them with. Tentatively, we'll replace them with 40-foot buses because they have the advantage of standardization, keeps your maintenance costs down, and keeps your operational flexibility down, which means the schedules department can get the most efficient scheduling and not worry about, oh, that's the most efficient scheduling, but I can't do it because it's the wrong bus. So I hope that addresses your question.
I'll piggyback that, and I think, Joel, you gave a really good answer. What may be helpful for the board, and we can consider whether it's something that would be helpful, is the seating capacity by vehicle type, just to be able to have a small chart for the board to understand that as well. So, you know, the bigger the bus, the more the seats generally, but the seating capacity does factor in, as Joel mentioned, as well as loads as well. So if you have a 60-footer, for example, the health line is how it's mentioned up here, but that's an articulated vehicle that has an accordion in the middle. Typically, when you run a 60-footer on the regular street, you know, you're dealing with many more seats than you would a 40-footer, and the same thing, it keeps going down as you have 35 and the like. So a trolley, for example, that has minimal ridership, as we have seen, wouldn't be adequate for a 60-footer, right? So you want to be able to kind of right-size the fleet for the ridership that you have, while also providing availability for capacity as you grow. Another thing that I would say, I don't know, Doc, if you have any comments on this, or even Dan, but the idea of running, for example, and this is just for examples, articulated buses in Cleveland with the weather that we have may not be the ideal situation when you get into snow and ice and that kind of thing. So the kind of bus that we have to be able to get through certain spaces, narrowness and turning radius is also important.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Terry. Good morning, Chairperson Pachetti, members of the board, members of the community. I'm Flance Caver, Deputy General Manager for Operations. And so, as Ms. Terry noted, certainly the articulated bus would not be the best in all areas, and so it does work well on our health line. The list that you see and the types of buses has compressed, as Joel mentioned. We want to get to a place where the standard bus, the most flexible bus, is the 40-foot transit bus. You'll notice, and you may have noticed over the last few years, our attempt to reduce some of, and our ability to reduce some of the branding that's on buses so that only certain buses were on certain lines. That becomes a constraint, particularly a constraint when you want to have buses operate throughout the entire city. And so the 40-foot transit bus is sort of the workhorse, which allows the most flexibility, allows it to go on every route that we have, except currently the health line. And the health line is constrained because of the left-hand side doors. I'll just share with you that the market has created a 40-foot 3-door bus with the door on the left-hand side. And so at some time in the future, the organization will have to evaluate size, cost, and ridership, but may have a new tool, which is a 40-foot bus with the left-hand side door also. New Flyer has created that bus.
Yeah, I understand the economies of scale and standardization, bringing down the cost, and that would be an attractive option to keep going with the 40-footers. My comment is just more broadly making sure that we're looking for opportunities for efficiency, because I just think there's financial and environmental savings to be had if we're not running around running a 40-foot bus when a smaller vehicle would do. And I don't think it behooves us to have a bunch of, like on some routes, very empty 40-foot buses. I don't think that looks good in the community either.
I understand.
This question a lot, and
If there's opportunities, I just wanted to be sure there's some process or checkpoint to make sure before just replacing a one-for-one bus
Certainly.
that we're thoughtful about, you know, which type of bus and why. That's all.
Certainly. And just want to let you know that we hear you, we understand it, and certainly we'll take that into consideration as we look at other opportunities with this. Let me ask a quick question.
Yeah.
I'll just add that when I said probably the trolleys would be replaced with 40-foot buses, it's precisely because we would be considering that trade-off of should we also have a smaller bus, give up the flexibility, but gain some of the factors that you have mentioned, like and save some fuel and maybe improve the public relations issue there that you raised. So that's why we're keeping an open mind about that.
Thank you.
And I'm all for that,
Jeff,
but
go ahead.
I want to give you the opportunity to, I get this question a lot of, oh, you would save a ton of money if you had smaller vehicles. And that's not generally true, so I want to give you the opportunity to tell us why that's
Yeah,
not true.
it's not generally true, right? The cost to maintain, just say the per mile cost to maintain the buses will be similar. The last time that we looked, and I don't know that I have the exact number, but the 35-foot trolley was not a very large delta between the 40-foot bus, as Joe mentioned. The 40-foot bus is the Chevy Cavalier. That was my first car, but it's, I was just say, oh, I didn't have a Volvo, but it's the standardized vehicle that most transit agencies make, and so. But the cost of maintaining it is by miles, so just think brakes, oil changes, and all of those types of things that drive the maintenance costs will still occur on the mileage link, and there's not a very large difference. We do have an opportunity, and the team will, given our conversation, take some opportunity to, with Gillig, which is one of the largest bus manufacturers in the country, they do offer, and it was one of the salient aspects of this, I'll call it a different looking bus that is not appreciably cheaper, but we may have the opportunity to figure out how to get closer to the most mundane version of the vehicle. The company is a great company, so I don't want that to suggest that it will ride differently, but it may look a little differently, and we have that opportunity in this contract.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the overview. A little bit of a different set of questions here, but with that 40, will that get us to a point of full retirement of diesel?
No,
Where are we on that route?
No, part of that 238 are a portion of diesel buses. They're not eligible to be replaced yet. Of the 54, those are all CNG buses, so. Yeah, the trolley is actually diesel, so in 2 years, that will be eligible to be retired. So that'll be 12 diesel buses. The MCI commuter coaches are also diesel. And then there's 29 buses in that 238 that are diesel, and those are the only diesel 40-footers left. I believe they have about 5 years left, 4 to 5 years left on their useful life. Yeah, it's for this contract, they should be replaced during the 5-year or towards the end of the contract. Yeah.
Sorry, Trustee Love, is your mic on?
Sorry.
Okay.
By 2031, you're saying the kind of full retirement of the diesel
Yeah, MCI is 2033.
of 33.
And the trolleys are in 2028. So yeah, in 5 years towards the end of the contract, the fleet should look a lot different. The MCIs might be the only diesels left at that point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And could you just give some rationale for the 5-year option through 2031? Up to 120.
The premise of a 5-year contract is to lock in a price early and deal with price increases with the producer's price index for inflation. So instead of going out every year where the price is not tied to inflation, it could be tied to, well, the manufacturer says, this is our price point for this item and this is for our bus. We hold them accountable to the price of the bus from the beginning of the contract for up to 5 years.
Any other questions from the full board or comments?
Just to make sure, Tony, from the audit perspective, you do a lot of kind of quality assurance with this team to make sure that we're hitting all specs. So I just want to make sure we have an opportunity if you had any additional commentary.
Again, Tony Garofoli, internal audit. With this and all rolling stock purchases, we are required to comply with federal requirements. So my office is very involved in working with Dan's group and other groups here to ensure compliance with those requirements. That includes both a purchaser's review. Did we buy what was spec? Okay, the Buy America review. Did we buy did the vehicle, is the vehicle built with greater than 70% domestic content? And then there's a federal motor vehicle safety certification that's put out by the by the National Highway Association. Is the vehicle built and designed to comply with those highway regulations? So again, we work very closely with Dan's group to ensure that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, do I have a motion to move this forward?
So moved, Sleesman.
Do I have a second?
Second, Gallo.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Okay, this motion passes. Thank you so much, Mr. Dietrich and Mr. Manning. Thank you so much for the presentation and for fielding our questions. Okay. We'll move on to an invitation for bid for a competitive procurement for laptops and desktop PCs. And our presenters are Mr. Charles Morgan and Mr. Drew Dimmick, if that is still correct. All right, it looks like it is. All right.
That is correct.
Please proceed.
Good morning, Chair Pachetti, members of the committee, and members of the board. I am Charles Morgan with the Information Technology team, and we're going to talk today about the purchase of laptop and desktop computers. So the GCRTA Information Technology Department strives to maintain up-to-date microcomputer equipment that meets industry standards. This approach helps to ensure a productive and safe computing environment. So our criteria that we look at when we're replacing falls into usually these four categories. First is software. As we all know, software continually advances, puts strains on the hardware, and it causes your computer to slow down. We all see it at home. So we evaluate the software that we're installing or that's being requested by our businesses and make sure that the equipment can support it. Then there is supportability, especially when it comes to security patching. There's a lot of patches that are introduced by software vendors on a regular basis, on a daily basis, and we have to make sure that the hardware can support those patching. Warranty, as the equipment ages, the warranties become more expensive if you can get them at all. And then at RTA, we're looking to maintain a 3-year life cycle for equipment, which is generally industry standard. And just for reference, our old equipment is recycled by E-Waste Company. Some justification. So we currently have about 300 units that will not support some of the latest Microsoft security patches, so we're going to replace those. Many of the units are 5 to 6 years old that we're replacing, so they're beyond that 3-year life cycle. They're out of warranty or on extended warranty, so it's also expensive to keep them. And we're standardizing, so we're replacing those HP units with Lenovo units. And then below that, some breakdowns on the quantities as well as the configuration of the units that we're purchasing, the CPU and memory, et cetera. For those who may not be familiar with Lenovo, Lenovo was formerly IBM. They purchased IBM's microcomputer division, I think it was around 2005. They are a global leader. They specialize in the business and the education markets. They are known for their durability. They're very durable and they're a high business value. So at the price point, you get better specs than some of the other brands. And then from about 3 years ago, GCRTA started to purchase Lenovo, and we've had very good success working with the company whenever needed. On the right, according to Gartner, you can see the breakdown. Those are global percentages. So in the first quarter of this year, Lenovo shipped over a quarter of the computers worldwide. And those are the top 5. And I'll turn it over to Drew.
Good Good morning, Chair Pacetti, members of the committee, and members of the board. My name is Drew Dimmick, and I'm the contract administrator for this procurement. The invitation for bid was issued on July 22nd, 2026, and was accessed on the GCRTA website by 51 interested parties. Bids were due on July 23rd, 2026, and 3 firms submitted bids. The lowest responsive and responsible bidder was M&J Technologies Direct Incorporated. Some of their other clients include the City of Medina, Cuyahoga County Health Department, Summit County, Lorain County Domestic Relations Court, among others. Staff requests that the Organizational Services and Performance Monitoring Committee recommend to the Board of Trustees an award to M&J's Technologies Direct Incorporated for providing laptops and desktop PCs in an amount not to exceed $660,000. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from my committee members or the full board? Okay, this is pretty straightforward, so I think it's hard to argue that we don't need a little bit of an upgrade here. So with that, do I have a motion to move this to the full board?
Move to approve, Sleesman.
Second, Love.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, do I need to move a motion to adjourn? Okay, with that, I think we're ready to adjourn. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion, Gallo.
Second, Sleesman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes.
Good morning, all. I'm calling to order the Audit, Safety, Compliance, and Real Estate Committee on Tuesday, August 4th, 2020, at 9:57. Mr. Green, welcome, and would you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Pacetti,
Here.
Ms. Elder,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Ms. Wiggum.
Here.
We have quorum.
Great, thank you. First item is approval of the minutes of the May 12th, 2026 meeting. You have it in your packet. Any comments or corrections? If not, is there a motion?
So moved, Elder.
Second, Sleesman.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Do we have a roll call?
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Pacetti,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum.
Yes.
We have quorum.
Thank you. The main item we have today is a update relating to our casualty insurance program. Presenting today will be Lynn Finnegan from our risk analyst. And Barbara Goodwin has come in all the way from California to join us this morning as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Ms. Finnegan.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Weiss, committee members, and members of the board. My name is Lynn Finnegan, and I am a risk analyst within the Risk Management Department with Barbara Goodwin of USI Insurance Services, LLC. I will be presenting on our casualty insurance renewal program. GCRTA maintains a casualty insurance program for protection of assets against catastrophic loss. Excess liability, general, rail, auto. We carry $95 million limits above a $5 million self-insured retention, SIR. Excess workers' compensation, we have a statutory limit and a $750,000 SIR. Public officials liability, employment practices liability, we have a $5 million limit with $250,000 and $500,000 SIRs. And we are looking at no increase in retentions or reduction in coverage terms for 2026. With regard to our proposals from our excess liability carriers, GCRTA utilizes its casualty insurance broker, USI Insurance Services, LLC, to access the excess liability markets. Together, GCRTA and USI approach insurance markets with a submission describing GCRTA's operations and exposures, loss experience, and safety culture to negotiate the best partnerships with markets and best program for GCRTA in terms of coverage and pricing. We have Public Officials Employment Practices Liability, EPL renewal, which provides liability protection to board members, directors, officers, as well as GCRTA for alleged wrongful acts by directors, officers, committee members, or employees. The policy also provides insurance coverage for employment practices claims. Our excess workers' compensation provides catastrophic insurance coverage in excess of a $750,000 self-insured retention per occurrence. And I will leave this now to Barbara Goodwin to talk about our excess liability renewal market outlook and two of our renewing lines.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Yeah, so the current marketplace is still considered hard, which means that the pricing is still increasing. And a lot of it has to do with the impact of larger jury verdicts. I mean, you read in the paper every day. And actually, one of my clients had personal experience. 10 years ago, they had a bus versus pedestrian accident, $4 million. 3 years later, another accident, $20 million. I mean, it's just what we see now every day. And as a result of that, a lot of these insurance companies aren't getting enough premium, especially in those higher excess layers. So you're seeing increases year over year, despite what your excellent loss experience may be. The insurance companies are also having to manage that risk. So a lot of them are reducing the amounts of limits that they offer you. So for example, in the GCRTA program, 10 years ago, there might have been one carrier who would offer you $20 million limits. Now the maximum limit of any one insurance carrier for RTA is 10. And most of the average is actually 5 and lower. So with that, talk a little bit about how you are positioned, or RTA is positioned, really viewed as a preferred account. And so we'll talk a little bit about why that is. But so essentially the program is balanced between multiple U.S., London, and Bermuda insurance carriers. There's 17 different insurance carriers on your program. So how did we do? This is amazing. This is actually the best result I've ever seen in my 10 years working with you all. It's incredible. This is actually a flat renewal on your excess liability insurance program. You'll see it's a 0.36% increase, which essentially is just a change of one of the insurance carriers from London to Bermuda. It's a federal excise tax change. It's $7,000. Incredible result. How do we get there? Essentially what we do is that we meet with the underwriters. The RTA does a presentation, Flancé, Caver, Janet Burney, and Lynn Finnegan do a presentation to underwriters, and it's very effective. It actually goes through how excellent your loss experience is and all the work that RTA does to make sure that bus drivers are behaving properly, and they do use the Lytics, the drive cam system, which works very effectively. Actually, once they implemented that system, the number of incidents were reduced in half. And so we're able to demonstrate that. We actually show videos of how it works, and the underwriters it really resonates with them in terms of how the agency is a superior risk. Also, the specifications that are put together are very thoughtful, go through the claim experience, and actually, again, emphasizing how well managed the agency is. GCRTA budget has 7.5% increase, and as I'd mentioned, it's a flat renewal, just extraordinary result. We also looked at the excess workers' comp in policy renewal, and this also is surprisingly good. With the pressure on inflation, medical inflation's increasing, so most of our clients are seeing at least a 5% increase. We actually were able to negotiate an 18.43% decrease, which is really unheard of. And a lot of that had to do, again, with how well managed RTA is in terms of these claims. And also, there's actually a new entrant into writing this coverage, and that helped us leverage and negotiate a better program. we actually were able to improve the program even further. We were negotiated a $10,000 risk control budget that RTA is able to use for various risk control measures. Also, we were able to negotiate a 2-year rate lock, which allows us to provide the same rate next year. Any increase would be just a change in payroll. Also, we were able to negotiate an increase in your workers' comp limit from $10 million to statutory, which what that means is that's unlimited. So the budgeted amount was $300,000, which is an increase of 5%, and obviously with the 18.43%, that was a $58,000 savings.
For our public officials' employment practices liability renewal, our incumbent carrier, AIG National Union, our expiring premium, $93,940. Our renewal premium, $94,230, a 0.33% increase equaled $290. We had budgeted for a 2.5% increase in accordance with our broker's experience with other public entity accounts. This renewal does not require board approval. It's just being provided as a courtesy. The combined result for all three insurance policies is a renewal premium of $2,365,804 versus expiring premiums of $2,411,000, a decrease of 1.88% or $45,311. The total renewal premium is $180,552 under the budgeted amount of $2,546,356, and this program is funded by GCRTA's operating budget. Staff requests that the Audit, Safety Compliance, and Real Estate Committee recommend to the Board of Trustees the purchase of casualty insurance from various insurance underwriters through USI Insurance Services, LLC, GCRTA's casualty insurance broker, in a total amount not to exceed $2,365,804 for a period of 12 months. Our policy term is September 1st, 26 to September 1st, 2027. Thank you, and we welcome any questions.
Great, thank you. Great presentation. It's always nice to deliver good news, but we appreciate the effort and hard work. Questions, comments from the board?
Yeah, just really quick. Yeah, I agree that it great result. But just for clarification, with the exception of the increase, I think you said on the Bermuda insurer related to excise tax, and then the increase for the public officials, there was no other major increase or change to the policy. Is that correct?
That's correct. No changes in coverage except for the improvements on the excess workers' comp.
Improvement, okay. Thank you.
All right, seeing none, I'll move to send this on to the board for approval. Do we have a second?
Second, Smith Wiggum.
Thank you. Ms. Green, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Pachetti,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Ms. Wiggum.
Yes.
We have quorum.
Well, it passed for clarification.
All right.
It goes to the
Passed.
full board.
With that, if there are no other items for this agenda, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second, Elder.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned on this committee. I'll now call to order the Compensation Committee. Again, this is for Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, at 10:09. Mr. Green, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Mayor Weiss,
Present.
Ms. Pachetti,
Here.
Ms. Elder,
Here.
Mayor Gallo.
Here.
We have quorum.
Great, thank you. And I think I'm turning this over to our CEO, General Manager.
For the
Introductory comments?
Yes. You have the, thank you. All right, now we get the, now we get the show on the road. I had to make sure I had the right slide up here. Thanks, John. All right, so it is a little bittersweet to give this update. Raj, you might as well head on up to the dais. Or to the podium, I'm sorry. So we wanted to be able to just say a few words about a colleague that has meant a lot to us over the years. Raj Gotham is our Deputy General Manager for Finance, but he's a lot more than that. We have gone through a lot with Raj, me particularly at the negotiation table. And I will say we're coming in the season of retirements, and a lot of this is just due to timing. Raj, is that usually what you say? And I think we are noticing that there's just a generational shift in leadership here at RTA. And whenever, I always say this, whenever somebody tells me they've got 25, 35, sometimes even 40 years of service, it's hard to be able to tell them no when they want to retire and enjoy the second or third phase of their careers or just leisure time. And I say that because Raj has been with us, 12.75, I think you said the other day, nearly 13 years with RTA. However, he's got decades of experience in the calculation world when it comes to finance, and has really earned his reputation in the accounting world, and also is a lot more than just a bean counter. He really manages and foresees the future when it comes to how we are to manage our finances and funding. He's a business owner. He has been a mentor to a lot of folks that we have here on staff. And I think that he's really been a great partner, a trusted partner, not only to the board, but also to me and to our team, our deputy team particularly, and of course the finance division as well, that has procurement and has business development and has grants and has all these things to be able to really get along with folks in a way that is difficult to do when you're talking about finance. Money is usually the crux of most arguments, whether you're married or whether you are at work. And so we find ourselves in a situation where finance usually either sparks the argument or it is what actually is the salve when you get into being able to figure out how to get to the next, whatever it is, the next level, whether it's buying rail cars or looking at tax budget, and the like. So we appreciate Raj. We know that he has given us all that he can. He is working up to the last second. And I will say that he's not asleep at the wheel. That's a bad euphemism, but you know what I mean. He's also putting in every minute and every second to make sure that he leaves this place better than when he found it. So we appreciate you, Raj. And with this, we're going to be celebrating Raj's retirement on August 14th. That is his Independence Day from RTA. But he will not be very far away, and we're sure to make sure that we lock in all his phone numbers, emails, and text messages so that we can give him a call whenever we need. So Raj, we appreciate you, we celebrate you, and if you have any wisdom to share, now's your time.
Thank you.
And I will say, when Raj told the board of his retirement, Raj, what did they say? In St. Amy's, at the compensation, I believe it was, they had a reaction to your.
It was absolutely not.
Yeah, I think all three members of the committee to whom I first disclosed my plans to retire roughly about 6 months ago uttered the same word in unison, and for a second it took me, why are they referring to this structure that holds back water? If you know what the word is, and I'm not going to use it in here. Now, India, thank you so very much. Ms. Pachetti, members of the board, good morning again. For those online, my name is Raj Gautam. I am the DGM of Finance and the board secretary treasurer. And yesterday, in some jokes, we were thinking that I needed to limit my comments to 45 minutes. So I took that as a maximum and joked about it, that it's not the target. So this is my final board meeting before my retirement on August 14th. Wanted to express my appreciation to each one of you. I'll have other opportunities over the next week and a half to say goodbye to my colleagues and our staff, but today I wanted to thank the board. About 12 and a half years ago, and India, you stole my punchline, 12.75 years to be more precise, since old accounting habits are hard to break. After many years as a partner in a CPA firm, I made the decision to join GCRTA. It turned out to be one of the best professional decisions I have ever made. I came here thinking I was bringing my expertise and experience in accounting, finance, and governance. What I didn't expect was how rewarding this chapter of my career would become. I have received far more in return than I ever imagined. Serving as a DGM of Finance and your Secretary-Treasurer has been an absolute privilege. I've appreciated the professionalism, thoughtful dialogue, and the commitment that you have brought to every decision. Even when we have faced difficult issues, and we faced a few in the past several months, our shared focus remained on doing what was right for the organization and for the community we serve. I want to thank you for that. I am proud of what we have accomplished together. We've strengthened our financial foundation, overcome significant challenges, and positioned GCRTA well for the future. None of that happens because of one person. It happens because dedicated people work together with a common purpose. As I prepare to leave, I do that with the utmost confidence. In this organization, we have exceptional leadership, outstanding employees, and a board that takes its stewardship responsibilities very seriously. I know the future is bright. I want to once again thank you for your confidence, your support, your friendship over these past 12 and a half years. It has been an honor to serve alongside you. I will always be grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this remarkable organization. I wish each of you and GCRTA nothing but continued success. I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this journey. I will always treasure these years. Thank you.
So I'm going to hand it back over to Mayor Wise to punt a resolution to the board. It makes sense once you heard from Raj. It is our goal here to make everyone cry, and I think that, Raj, you got really close to that. So we appreciate you once again for all the dedication that you have to the authority.
It is a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
All right, Mayor Wise.
If people would maybe indulge me for just a moment to, on behalf of the board, to thank Raj. And I agree. Raj, you have been, a steady person at the oar and at the of the ship, and we keeping us out of the deep waters and the challenges. We greatly appreciate it. Raj and I had become acquaintances before I joined the board at the RTA, and I knew him, and I knew his reputation, and I knew his, by practice, the success and the skill set that he brought to this organization. And I have to tell you, it gave me a great degree of confidence when I was joining the board that I knew Raj was there to advise us on financial and other matters. There's one thing that I do wish was different, Raj, and that is, I thought I'd hoped that I could outdo you in your attire every meeting, but I failed miserably at that within the first couple meetings. So, but in all seriousness, thank you, Raj, so much for all you've done. We greatly appreciate it. Actually, if I was so excited to talk about Raj, I forgot to approve the minutes of our compensation committee. So, if you'll indulge me, that we have to go backwards for a moment. I'll go ahead and move approval of the minutes of the May 12, 2026 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second, Pachetti.
Thank you. Mr. Keene, would you please call the roll on approval?
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Pachetti,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mayor Gallo.
Yes.
Approved.
Great, thank you. With that, I think we're complete on the compensation committee. Yes, or do we?
We've got one resolution that needs to be offered up to the board so that it can be moved to the full board, and then it can be voted on in the special.
Okay, so we have a proposed resolution 2026-052, and this is a motion, a resolution to, for the appointing of John Dyer to the position of interim secretary and treasurer of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority, effective August 15, 2026.
Mayor-
I'll take a,
Mayor Weiss, before you take roll, if it's okay.
no, I was going to describe it, but you.
Oh, no, go right ahead.
No.
I'll piggyback you.
Okay. As many of you may remember, although this was actually, goes back quite a while, but by statute, the agency is obligated to have a secretary treasurer. That person has been Raj for, I don't know how many years, 6 years. And it's a statutory required position, but it also has been really the foundation for Raj's report at every board meeting, along with all the other things he does internally. Because of timing, with Raj's last day on the 14th, we want to make sure that we did not have any vacancy in anyone holding that role in the interim. And so the administration and staff have recommended John to, he's back there? To serve as interim secretary treasurer. We appreciate that, those efforts. Let's see, is there anything else before I turn it? No, I'll just open it up to whether Janet or India, you have any comments?
I do. I just wanted to, and I appreciate it. You explained it beautifully. On the competency side, I just want to be able to express to the board that Raj also leads an exceptionally professional and prepared team. I have no doubt that John will be rising to the challenge of Secretary Treasurer for the board. They essentially work as a team in all aspects. So I'm looking at Carl and Kay, Carolyn, these polls are in my way, but all the folks that are, Sean, all the folks that are leading the team, it really is a team effort, and Raj said that multiple times, but you don't see any nervousness in my face with these retirements, because the same thing, even on the engineering side and the planning side, with these massive retirements that we have as far as stature and tenure, the teams are very well equipped to be able to do this work and to continue the work. So I just want to make sure that the board, although Raj, we will miss you, we are very well seated to make sure that we can continue in the work and continue to succeed. So my confidence in John for this, no pressure, John, is very high, and I think that we'll be in good hands.
Thank you, India. We all agree. There are two items I want to just mention. When Raj took this role, the board approved a compensation increase for those additional responsibilities. And this goes back a while, but it was a total amount of $10,000 per year, or $833.33 per month. It would be my recommendation to the compensation committee that we recommend that amount remain the same, but that it would be payable then to John Taher as effective August 15th, 2026. I will also mention that John will also receive an increase in base salary proposed of 10% of his base salary that will be paid just during this interim period while he's serving as interim secretary treasurer. So those are the two economic changes that we're proposing. And with that, I will open it up to the committee members first, if you have any comments or. Okay. Hearing none. Then we will go ahead. You should have in front of you a proposed resolution basically documenting all that we've just talked about. So if there are no other comments, I will take the opportunity to move, make a motion to forward this to the full board, which we will do momentarily after the comp committee finishes. So I move approval of these items in the resolution. Is there a second?
Second, Pachetti?
And second, moved and seconded. Would the clerk please call the roll on approval?
Mayor Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Pachetti,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mayor Gallo.
Yes.
All right,
Move to
thank
the
you.
board.
Motion carries. I believe that's the last thing for the Compensation Committee, so I will go ahead and move.
Actually, Mayor,
Oh, yes,
I just want to make a comment about Raj before we
Please.
we conclude.
Please.
Hi, Raj. I just want to say when I came onto this board in July of 2024, I think you were probably one of the most influential folks in getting me up to speed at the agency. There's so much to learn, and the numbers are large, and there's just so many moving parts. And Raj really took the time, whether it was in my onboarding or one-off meetings or on my daily walks when I'm not at work or here, and we just stopped to talk about some things. And so I really appreciate everything that you've done, and I'm gonna miss you, and I'm sure we're all gonna miss you. But we all, wish you well on your future endeavors and hikes and whatever else you have planned.
I think we need to just take the roll on adjournment. Oh, okay, I thought, okay, never mind. I'll move adjournment of the Compensation Committee.
Second it.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjournment? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the Compensation Committee meeting stands adjourned. Now it's back to Ms. Pachetti.
Okay, moving right along. President Kumar is not able to be with us today, and so I'll stand in for a special Board of Trustees meeting that we'll close out with today. And we'll start with a roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar, Ms. Pachetti,
Here.
Ms. Elder,
Here.
Mayor Gallo,
Here.
Ms. Harper,
Here.
Mr. Love,
Here.
Ms. McPherson, Ms. Wiggum,
Here.
Mr. Sleesman,
Here.
Mayor Weiss.
Here.
I have quorum.
Thank you very much. We'll continue right along with that resolution that we all just discussed. And that's Resolution 2026-052. I'm going to go ahead and read that resolution, and then we'll have to take a vote on it to approve the resolution. So this is appointing John Taher to the position of Interim Secretary Treasurer of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority, effective August 15th, 2026. I'll just pause if there are any other questions or comments on that.
John, did you have any comments? Told you I'd do it.
Well, all I can say is thanks for the opportunity. I will do my best to fill those shoes that Raj has, those big shoes that Raj has had put out there for me to fill. Like I said, I think that I've worked with Raj since I've been here. He started about 2 months before I did, and we've been through a lot together, and I think we've had the great finance team together, so have assurances from everybody within finance that we'll keep the ball rolling and until his position is filled. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion, Harper.
Second.
Mayor Weiss.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Okay, we'll move on to old business. I have one item. I just wanted to remind my fellow board members and also the public, we are on track to discuss more about a potential levy on September 8th at the committee meeting, where we'll have more information about a quarter point versus half point increases, what that gives us, how many years it goes out. And so that's something we'll be looking to management and team for just understanding the math on those. I think the scenarios where like quarter point, for example, gives us like 10 years and half point gives us 50 years, and just really discussing that, opening it up to dialogue about all the different possibilities that we have in front of us when we look toward a potential May vote in 2027. So that's old business. And then I believe we have a couple other items, which I'm going to hand over to General Manager Birdsong Terry to walk us through.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that, and we look forward to talking with the board on September 8th and the 22nd as well, as we get 1 inch closer to decision point for the percentage. I will just say anecdotally, we've been having a lot of good traction, Nick, right? To be able to talk with our community stakeholders, very much educational. So we look forward to bringing you up to speed on that piece. I'm going to hand it over while we are still in the old business category, and then also the new business category, to Janet Burney, our general counsel, to go through a couple of administrative items and updates, and then she'll punt it back to me before we head into executive session. Janet.
Good morning. To Trustee Pichetti and to the board. I am Janet Burney, General Counsel for RTA, Deputy General Manager for Legal Affairs. Have just 2 matters I want to bring to you. One is under the category of old business, and this is more of a matter of just wanting to alert you to something. In the tax budget materials that were provided to the board at the July 21st, 2026 meeting, there was an error in some of the materials that were included in that packet. Specifically, there was an error in the resolution that was made available to you at the dais, but also in what was made available to the public. We are looking into it, meaning the legal department as well as finance, to determine what recourse, if any, is required to correct the error. But just wanted to make you aware of it in the event that we do need to come back to you for some additional action on that tax budget matter that you approved. Just want to clarify that the materials that were included, meaning the attachments, were correct. There was an error in the resolution that was attached. So just want to put that to you, and we will get back to you if further action is required.
And just to clarify, that's part of the Operational Planning and Infrastructure Committee?
No, it was in fact the packet that was approved by the board at the board meeting's July 21st meeting. So it was the approval of the tax budget resolution. It was those materials had an error in them. And so just wanted to alert you to it, because it was something that was published, but also something that we may need to come back to you on. We may not, but we just wanted to make sure you were alerted to it as soon as we could get before this body to make you aware of that particular error.
Janet, just to be able to piggyback you, from an administrative standpoint, so that we don't have any erroneous information out there floating in the web, we have removed the packet, if any, that was posted. So we'll make any corrections and then repost and alert you to that as well.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, great, that's an easy one. The second item is under new business, if I can proceed to that, Madam Chair. Under new business, wanted to just address the information that was provided to you last week regarding the cost of a May 2027 sales tax levy. And just wanted to see if there were any questions from anyone while we were all gathered here at this particular meeting.
I did have one question after that memo. Is there a timeline when we will know if there will be other items on the ballot or a deadline that we should be aware of?
We may not know until, good question. We may not know until the filing deadline, which I believe is February 3rd, 2027. And so, ordinarily, I think as we've explained in the information provided to you, when they're just local issues, but you want to have a countywide issue on the ballot, you have to pay for all the precincts. The entity or the agency that wants to have that countywide issue on the ballot has to pay for the cost of putting that particular item on the ballot in all the precincts that are not otherwise having something on the ballot. So we really won't know until we see who files by February 3rd, 2027. But we want to make sure you were aware of the fact that there is a cost. We were not able to provide any information up until now that was at least crystallized to some kind of accuracy. We got various numbers from folks, from consultants, et cetera, but we're confident, at least at this point, given the work that Mike Fessler, our associate counsel, has done in reaching out to the Board of Elections for greater clarification. We're pretty confident that the number we're talking about now is closer to being the number and could be a little higher, but could be lower depending on if other issues come up. But we did not want to let any more time pass without alerting you to the number that we think is close to a real possibility.
I appreciate that.
And again, this is given the advice and counsel from the Board of Elections. We finally were able to meet with them. Mike was able to meet with them last week, and this is after a couple of months of trying to nail down a number. And we did not want to misinform you, but now we feel comfortable giving you that much information. Any other questions? Comments?
No, I just say to my colleagues, if you haven't read that, it is pretty meaty, but it's important. And so please go to your RTA inboxes to read that. Thanks.
Anything else? All right, great, thank you.
All right, so that takes care of most of the special board meeting. And again, just for the record, we did add the special board meeting because primarily we wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity as a board to vote, to hear and vote on the resolution for John Taher stepping in for Raj Gotham in the Secretary Treasurer. I'm reading this into the record, Ken and Kay, so that we have that awareness. We try to limit our special board meetings for those things that we need for immediate information, and that allowed us to do so that there was no gap between Raj's Independence Day, i.e. retirement, and the board opportunity, because our next board opportunity would be August 18th, if I'm not mistaken, and Raj retires on the 14th. So this allows a seamless transition for the Secretary Treasurer role. All right, with that, we are going to move into executive session, if that's approved, okay. And for that, we're gonna go back into the caucus room to make sure. Joel, can you do me a favor and just make sure that room is clear? It should be, before I dismiss everybody else. We will, for the record, Janet, do I need to read the reason or? Okay. I'll go ahead and do that if that's okay, Ms. Pachetti. Okay, executive session will be held for the following two justifications. Matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes, and also details relative to the security arrangements and emergency response protocols for a public body or a public office. So for that particular conversation, I'm going to request that all members of the Board of Trustees head back into the caucus room. Thank you, Joel. And we're going to go ahead and retain Chief Jones from Transit Police, Deputy Chief Gettings from Transit Police, Steve Paganoff from Safety will be joining us, as well as Flance Caver from Operations, Janet Burney from Legal, and everyone else. Feel free to stick around if you'd like to watch paint dry until we finish.
Roll call, please.
Roll call
Yeah,
before we go.
I need to
Yes.
have a motion.
So moved. Mayor Weiss?
Second, Mayor Gallo.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kumar, Ms. Pachetti,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mayor Gallo, Ms. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson, Ms. Wiggum,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss.
Yes.
Approved.
to adjourn come out of executive session.
Motion Harper. Second Smith Wiggle.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are out of executive session, and now I think that was our last order of business, and so I move to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second, Elder.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ms. Pachetti, we need a roll call to come out of the executive
Shoot.
session also.
Okay, yes. Sorry, back up a second before we adjourn. Can I have a roll call to come out of executive session? Already moved, already seconded. We just need a roll call. Yeah.
Mayor Kumar, Ms. Pachetti,
Yes.
Ms. Elder,
Yes.
Mayor Gallo,
Yes.
Ms. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. McPherson, Ms. Wiggum,
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman,
Yes.
Mayor Weiss.
Yes.
Approved.
Okay, now we are out of executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second, Elder.
I move to adjourn, second Elder. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.